A new pair.
Yep, I got it. Recording in progress.
All right. Rick, how you doing, man?
Hello.
How's life?
Life is interesting at this time of year. A
Yes. I was going to
lot
ask.
would argue boring, but
Yeah.
these are the prep months. A lot of people just go on holiday, don't they?
Do you know what? I spoke to, do you know Dave Kilminster?
Yes.
I've got him coming on, so another one. And he's like, yeah, I'm in Mexico till April. I was like, fair enough.
That's the one way to do it.
Why
Just go.
not? Why
That's
not?
exactly it. January to April. That's
Yeah.
the best time to go.
So I was going to ask, so how has the start of the year been? Just quiet?
Um, yeah. So funny enough, I just put up a post, and anyone who knows me is like, I don't really like posting a lot of stuff, but I know it's part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta keep everything flowing. So I said to myself, okay, even though I loathe to do these, I mean, I don't know about you, but or I know many people that actually love making guitar videos, and
No,
maybe
not really.
some people really do. But it's just the fact that like I now have to think about like, well, I'm doing this for the purposes of,
Yeah.
and so I've done it like when I've been rehearsing stuff. But what I'm coming around to saying is, I did a post just today, just saying like, what this month is all really about,
Mm.
and I said it was essentially prep for the year,
Yeah.
get healthy, um, do your admin, practice,
Yeah.
revisit your gear, check everything's like working, everything's ticking along. Like, oh, your patch is right. I mean,
Yeah.
is there some niggly bits here? Is this stuff needs to be replaced? I was on the phone to Kemper the other day. I was just like, what is up with this buck? um, you know, and then with that, I was just like, well, actually, now I'm being thrown in that they want me to send this back to Germany for a bit because they think it's a hardware thing.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, I'm back to old school.
Oh,
So
nice.
again, it brings you around to like, okay, now I've got to bring out the big stuff. And I
Yeah.
was thinking, how do I recreate what I've done in the Kemper? And this is the day and age we're in, right?
Yeah.
Is everything's profiling. I mean, people want clean stages for the pop gigs.
Yeah.
You want something you could throw on your, and my stage just goes in my backpack.
Yeah. Yeah.
It goes jump on the plane, easy. It's always reliable, right? I think that's the biggest thing. It's nothing worse than turning up to a gig in India or something, and you got
Mm.
guy doesn't speak much English as one of
Yeah.
the techs, and he's the main guy, and you've got like a really buzzy Fender Twin that's been exhausted by every band that's ever passed through.
Yeah.
So um, anyway, I'm doing a big answer to a very
Yes,
short
that's
question.
fine.
Yeah, but essentially, this is what it really is. It's studio time. It's irons in the fire.
Yeah.
We do a lot in this role. And I'm also a musical director for like essentially like a busy function. And it's actually a lot in the back end that goes on behind it. And there's even talk of things like releasing our versions and everything on Spotify, because what is the top end of doing something like that? It's like,
Yeah.
was it Voice Avenue? That's like a band that re- records proper covers, and yeah, they do really well. I mean, I'm caught up for like new versions of stuff and listening to that. Anyway, so there's
Cool.
that, and then there's projects that got going on and stuff like that. But yeah, as I was saying, like rebuilding what I do in the Kemper into like I have to use multiple amps to
Jesus.
recreate the things that I wanted to do, and I was like, oh my god, I've opened up a can here. But I spent days on it and
Yeah.
just redoing my whole my patching and stuff. And it turned out that I actually didn't need to send it off anyway. But it was a bloody good exercise. I'm ready. I'm ready. I
So
mean, like,
yeah,
I
whether you're
could
analog
take
or
out the big
digital.
stuff. That's just it.
So what are you
So,
using? You
yeah.
got the Bad Cat, Black Star Fender.
So yeah, I've been with Blackstar for years, but
Hmm.
I keep going back to just this artisan range. This is like a '68 reissue. I think it's a '68 reissue,
Hmm.
and I absolutely love it. They brought it so that the volumes are actually really usable.
Usable.
Saying
Yes.
that, I was still quite shocked about how loud I need
Yeah.
to run everything. I think that's the killer with I absolutely love the fact that I'm getting out of the Kemper quite convincingly like a raging JTM 45 Marshall or something,
Yeah.
and I don't have to absolutely blow the place away or use like the aux box or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
to
yeah.
attenuate it to bring the volume down. But I'm still having to run it fairly loud in order to get this. Is a 15 watt, and it's got a 5 watt setting, but yet
Yeah.
I still have to, like, I'm still blaring away. And I'm
Nice.
like, oh my god, this. I'm just like, I'm giving myself like, I don't want to make some solo patches where I'm just a bit like, oh my god,
Yeah.
it's a bit much. Don't really play as much as I'd like to just let out because I'm just like, this is blowing me away here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's cool. It's nice. I mean, I haven't used an amp. I think I used an amp for the first time in about a year, 3 months ago, and it was. I was like, oh, I don't. It's a hassle dragging it out of the car and out the storage unit, packing it in, and fuck me, I just prefer it. Just the air moving behind you, even within ears, you can just kind of feel it
I
pushing
know,
you.
right? I know, right? I don't know. Do you use any cabs with your profiler and stuff? Your
No, no, I just go straight in ears.
this thing
Yeah,
makes it completely different.
yeah,
I've got to say, like, just having the profiler, mine's down there.
yeah.
I've got a spare one. But this has made all the difference.
Okay.
I think if you speak to anyone, like my friends, like Peter Honore, who does Anderton's TV
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like that. We talked about this like for years before. I mean, he was rating it, and I said, mate, it's what a difference it's made when this came out because it does a speaker sim a bit like well, there's similar things, but it actually simulates certain um, old speakers, and you can go
okay.
from like Goodman's to Heritage Anniversary. What is it called? Celestians and
Yeah, yeah,
it models stuff like that as well. So it's got its own cone or whatever.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm actually getting the whole air moving. It's fairly chunky. I just put on
All right,
I was
okay.
gonna do like a metal video because I was just really into the Bring Me the Horizon thing because I
Yeah,
did loads of pop stuff for like house band duties on the
yeah,
weekend and I just fancied. I was just like, I just want to play some metal.
yeah,
So I just like pulled up a little patch, and God, it is actually this is pretty loud actually.
yeah.
Just
All right.
what?
Keep it in mind.
So, mate, yeah, I
Keep it
fully
in mind.
recommend
Yeah, we went to see Bring Me the Horizon a couple of months ago.
in Birmingham.
London.
Is
Took
it?
my daughter.
Oh, they're London. Oh yeah,
Mm.
I forget. I'm the one that's moved out of London.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they were fucking killer. We saw them a couple of years ago as well. And I actually did some sessions with Jordan, the keyboard player.
Yeah,
And
friend
I
of mine
took
as well.
I took my daughter to see them at the O2, and I dropped him a message, said, "Look, we just been to see him. It was like fucking brilliant. It was her first ever concert, and she loved it." And he went, "All right, cool. We're playing at Prism next week if you want to come." So we stuck us on the guest list. We went to see him in Prism. I don't know if you've been to Prism. It's only
I
three
can't
thousand
remember.
people. Really,
Yeah, it's
really
small.
tiny
I
little
thought.
venue. Tiny little venue. Um,
God, yeah.
and we were kind of just sat round the edge of the pit, and we finished the show. It was a banging show, and I said to her, "How did you like that?" She went, "It's all right." I was like,
What?
"What do you mean it was all right?" She went, "Yeah, yeah, I preferred the O2
How
because
long
they
ago
had
was this?
2 years ago."
So, God, they were in their prime, and that
Yeah.
was like just that's the Spirit album and everything.
No, this was the Posthuman tour. It was like a
Oh
secret
yeah, yeah,
gig.
yeah, that one.
It
Sorry,
was
yeah.
it was
That,
I think it was like a secret gig or like a thank you gig for all the people that pre-ordered the album.
oh my
But
God, I would have loved that.
she said, yeah, I just preferred the O2 with the lights and the spectacles and all the things, because there was obviously at Prison there was none of that. It was just a band on stage with a couple of lights.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah, she wasn't overly impressed. I was like, oh my god, all right. But we were
Oh
like
my God, she
this
doesn't know.
close to them, but she doesn't know. She doesn't
Kingslayer,
know.
my daughter loves that song.
It's a
She shouldn't do
banger.
that, but it's
Yeah,
freaking awesome. I
yeah.
love that.
It's cool. I have to talk about. You touched on practicing as well.
Yeah.
What's your practicing like? What does it look like? How's it changed? I don't know, over the last 10 or 15, 20 years.
Oh my God, it's gonna sound bad.
But you don't practice.
You know what? I think your practice should be your gig prep and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if it's a function or all the way up to your big high flying tours or whatever, or even like it's just some of these shows. I do like the Mamma Mia the Party show for Depping for Luke Higgins. So
Yeah.
it's still something you should get down. I mean, even if it's ABBA, it's like yeah,
Yeah.
it's nifty.
Yeah.
But practice wise, I'd love to say that I'd sit down and pull out Rick Beato's book. I forget what he's called it, but I've got it. And at times I love the theory of it all,
Mm.
and I think I just want to explore that. But I sometimes just get locked into going like, okay, well, I kind of need to work and promote, and as I said, like putting
Yeah.
these videos and stuff like that, they add up to something. So I end up just playing what I've currently got to do coming up. So if it's a
Yeah.
house band duty and I've got to learn like 2 hours worth of music and
Yeah.
as quick as possible, and then just go like, well, okay, there's no guitar in this. How do I make that? I end up just creating. So you end
Yeah.
up getting into this world of creating, and I also write for stuff.
Yeah.
So I end up going, okay, well, I'll warm up, and I'll have that kind of thing like that. But even again, there I should warm up
Mm.
and drill things through. Does it mean my playing doesn't get anywhere? Um, it could well be better. And
Okay.
I know what I would do. You know what the best thing to do to get better is actually teaching,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
you have to exercise the knowledge you have,
Yes.
and that is actually I think what. So I do teach. I had I used to guest for a bit at ACM in London when it opened.
Okay.
Guest lecturer there for a good few years ago, and then I just have a couple people, like just three now,
Yeah.
2 or 3 after a COVID essentially,
Mm.
but they're like just either very old students or my best friend's dad who
Right.
plays guitar.
Okay.
you know, and you know what, like it just stretches over not just guitar. It also goes into like they want to know how to model their own sounds, do their
Yeah.
own stuff like that. Then it goes into the realms of like, well, a good practice and a good form of checking where you're at is do recordings regularly, and
Yeah.
oh my god, play with a freaking click all the time.
Yes.
That is the number one thing. If a tip for anybody, getting into guitar, as I'm sure you've given this out a million times before, play with a freaking click or a drum machine. I even
Yeah.
got like this thing for my students initially. Um, as a rhythm partner, this thing, it's brilliant.
Okay.
It's actually sounds authentic, like a cajon or something.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what a full drum kit. I always think they sound so naff.
Yeah.
You know what I feel like? There's this raging drummer at the back. It's just
Yeah.
a box.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just having something that's nice to keep you and to feel the pocket. Get tight with your timing first, and you'll gradually get your fingering and everything else coming right. So yeah, I mean, drilling scales and stuff like that. I don't know. I've got some good tips about things like that, but
Go on, share them.
so for soloing and things like that, for soloing, essentially what we guitarists are trying to do is just sound is be a solo voice, right?
Yeah.
So if you're taking that direction, it's like, well, okay, it's the phrasing and everything like that. You're trying to bring out your voice, and unless you're going to sound like a metal machine, and it's like, it's great,
Yeah.
that's fun, but sometimes that shit can sound like absolute loose change
Yeah.
and waffle and anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the best form of practice for soloing and getting phrasing and that is to copy singers. Put on a
Okay.
track you know quite well,
Yeah.
and I say from vocally, like, oh, I know the melody of that pretty well. Just great. I can hear it in my head.
Yeah.
A lot of it is I hear it here and it comes
Yeah.
out there. When you get to that level that like a lot of people are, you're singing.
Mm.
So learn singing parts. On the weekend, I played this Teddy Swims track. It's like
Okay.
he's quite gospely. Oh God, lose alone or something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll find it in a minute. But what an amazing singer, and I just found myself going like, right, well, I've nailed the track. It's like a 4 chord wonder, but the vocal on it is impressive, and the way
Hmm.
he phrases and stuff like that. You can spend hours just nailing someone's vocal, and I tell you what, it's the best bit of practice you'll do.
There
You
you go,
take
man.
away so much from that. And
Yeah.
then, like, I played for a gospel band, LCGC, London
Hmm.
Community Gospel Choir. And again, I applied the same thing when I was practicing. Once I finished finally learning the
Yeah.
7 minute songs, Jesus, they're not
Yeah.
easy. But you end up like playing their stuff, and oh my God, you take away so much from that.
Hmm.
You you step out of thinking scale
Yeah.
wise. You
Yeah.
step out of thinking, you know, the just what feels good on the fingers and letting all the muscle memory do. If you start going into those realms, you yeah, you'll come away with gold really, and it'll become part of your own style as well.
Yes, yeah. I think that the danger, sorry, my camera's just slipped. The danger with guitar players is there's no kind of natural pause that we have to do. We could just keep playing over and over and over, just
Yeah,
until someone tells just stop. But sax
yeah,
players, trumpet players, any wind instruments, singers, they've got to take a breath. They've got to
yeah.
stop. So right, okay, so I've got this breath. I've got 8 beats or 2 bars or whatever, and I've got a little riff that I'm going to do. It's got to end here because I'm out of breath and I've got to stop. So
Yeah.
it forces you. I mean, one of my old teachers said, "Sing everything you play," because then that
Yeah,
forces
it's the
you
same thing.
to stop. And when
Exactly.
you breathe in, you've got to stop. So you got to try and fit your phrases in around your breath. So
100%. So
yeah,
that is exactly we're saying. You know, you've heard the same thing.
mm,
You know, it's a really good friend of mine is an amazing rock singer, Jim Stapley.
I know Jim. Yeah,
I was asking him, you know, Jim, yeah.
yeah. I
I
did
used to
a
play
few
with
gigs with
Jim.
him.
Oh, really? Back in the
Mm,
day.
mm,
Yeah, I used to play for him and did his album and stuff like that when he was in the UK. And I used to say to him, like, man, like, how do you when you go in for a note or whatever, like, what's your process or whatever? And they all say the same thing. He hears it in his head first, and then
yeah,
he thinks of it as punching it in the air. And
yeah,
I think the same can apply for any solo instrument. You got to just hear it, punch it, and it's the confidence, isn't it? It's making it
mm,
believable to go, you know, I'm really going to push that note out. And you know what? If you're in the realms of exploring, I heard Steve Lukather say this all the time about when he's been filmed during
mm.
like in a club night where he'll make mistakes, man.
I was
And you know what?
that was where I was going to go to next. But yeah, go on.
Make mistakes. Like
Yeah,
if you're not making mistakes, then you're doing something wrong because you're
yeah,
not stretching out.
yeah,
You're
yeah, yeah,
playing the same shit you played before,
yeah,
or you're like, oh, okay, you know, I've got a singer as well that like I do set in jams, and I know when he's just fishing. You know, when singers fish
mm,
for, I need some time off singing for a minute.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
In my head, I'm like, how much time are they going to give me? Because if they're going to go like 8 bar usual thing where I can
yeah,
feel like, oh, this is going to be that, or they're going to let me go. And it's
yeah,
back to your pauses. And you know, are you going to let me go and experiment, or are
yeah,
you going to let me? You want to fill like a 16 bar thing here because I
yeah,
can
yeah,
feel the amount of times like I haven't crescendoed or built up, and he's just come in when I'm
yeah,
like, and
yes,
I'm back, and I'm like, oh, I'm over then. I'm out. It's nothing
yes,
worse. You're like,
yeah,
yeah, and he's like in. I'm like, oh, okay. Just cut my dick off
yeah,
there, man.
yeah,
But yeah, if I experiment with this singer, he's my best mate as well, and he'll go jazz down the mic
yeah,
just to throw me under the bus. I'll be like,
yeah,
and I'll be like, oh, and he'll be like, oh, jazz. I'm like, bastard every time. But you know what? I don't care, and I think that for musicians is such a hard thing to say.
Hmm.
I don't care. I'm gonna
Yeah,
make mistakes. I'm gonna go
yes,
for this. I mean, like last night, I did a jam night, and I just wasn't really feeling
yeah.
it as much to play, and it's because he was throwing me in for solos, and it was like, and he was just like, solo again, and I'm like,
I just finished.
yeah. I mean, like, wait, I could do one, but I'm like, I know, I'm just filling time here.
Yeah.
I kind of know my lane a little bit. You know, I'm like, there should be some variety or stuff like that. I think like a producer, a lot of time, less is more.
Yeah.
I'll take those pauses. If I know I've got free reign of time
Mm.
on a solo or something, or where I can improvise, oh my God, I'm going to take my time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
Yeah.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna, I'm gonna mess with pickups and where I
Yeah.
pick
Yeah.
on the,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna let it just sit,
Yeah.
find the pocket. Let's be dynamic. Let the band figure out how to go with it, and I'll go with you. You know, it should be a conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's all. It's not just me in my spotlight going.
Yeah. Well, you say that there are so many people that take that approach, and it's just like the fucking barrier comes down, and they're in their own little world. It's like, dude, are you listening? Are you listening?
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. He knows we're in A minor, and he's off.
Yeah.
He's just playing his own
Mm.
shit. Doesn't matter what people are playing.
Yeah. So the other thing I always want to talk about is what's your approach to getting better, and what do you think getting better means?
So, okay, I'm going to try and make it concise because I feel like a waffle. What makes you better? Exercising the knowledge you take in,
Yeah.
right? Um, I'm going to put this in a broad sense and then bring it around to guitar, if that's right. I'll try to
Sure.
do this as quick as possible. Um, the amount of people that will listen to podcasts like this one, or
Mm.
you'll get amazing tips and then be like, oh my God, that's amazing. Or watch little clips where someone's showing you how to really drill through something that's quite complex. And you got the tab, you got it all. You'll drill it for that minute, or you might have a go at it there and then. But essentially, people just kind of pick this stuff up. There's so much information around.
Mm.
They're picking up information all the time. And they think, oh, I should be pretty fruitful, or they feel a bit deflated that they haven't they don't have this information running, and it's literally exercising that
Mm.
information. So, you know what, like, it's a simple answer at the same time. If you don't exercise the knowledge you're receiving,
Yeah.
you're just having a mental wank.
Yeah.
It's basically what you're having, and
Yeah.
you're taking that in and you're dropping it, and it's if it's not something that is in your daily language, and you're exercising it every day,
Yeah.
then you don't expect it on the night.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
turn
Yeah.
up at the gig and go like, this is now I can really step out in melodic minor like you've never seen, and
Yeah.
adapt to stuff and reharmonize it and be like, why?
Yeah.
You're like, take it. It's like, what? The other guys are like, what the fuck you doing, man? Read the room. It's the big one there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, um, but the other element is just like, okay, well, how do I get better? Teach it to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's a very good one. If you
Yeah.
teach it, you have to exercise that knowledge really quite
Yeah.
explicitly. It's actually a fairly good reason why I still keep on with the lessons with people. Is like, shit, yeah, I now have to do the structure that I've given them,
Mm.
and it's tailored to each student. But I mean, I always mask it. Say like, we're gonna do warm up now. I
Yeah.
put the click on, we run through it, and I get them to play minor. If we're gonna do playing a scale, I'll do like minor scale into the major shape, and I'll make it a moving thing. So they do the whole fretboard. Get used
Yeah.
to playing really up here,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
haven't practiced at all. And it was
Yeah.
like they want to do these wailing solos. It was like, it's all up here, dude. You're gonna have
Yeah.
to get used to the new fingering.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is that, and then there's going like, okay, well, how do I actually be meaningfully better,
Mm.
right, in the music world? And I'm going to come back to that, like, learn tunes that are on point with what you're about to do. And if you're
Mhm.
not doing any gigs or whatever, then it's just a practice. Pick your favorite songs with the vocal lines. And if it's soloing that you want to focus on, go and do that.
Yeah.
If it's rhythm, get on a freaking click, and you like make it sound nice as well, because it's nothing worse than playing for hours unless you're having to record
Yeah.
with just that going off.
Yeah.
And then you know what, like, being able to jam with other people
Mhm.
is a big factor. You hear things differently. I think, a lot of our friends and the whole session world thing is like, okay, everyone is at that level and they
Yeah.
play great. and now it's just for artists and managers and producers and all that. They're just picking whose flavour they like. You know, now it's
Yeah.
an ice cream thing.
Yeah.
Rick's a bit vanilla.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I just like vanilla. I think.
Yeah.
I'll get choc chip. Go on then. But
Yeah. I think
uh,
that's an interesting point. Like so many people are hired based on their little quirks, if you want to call them that. Like
yeah,
you'll get some people that
idiosyncrasies.
yes, you're some players that's like, you know what, he has this really kind of dreamy, ethereal kind of tone going on, and we really like that. Well, you have someone else that's like, no, he's just super fucking tight. He's really on the click, and we've hired him for this gig, and he did great, so we're going to get him back. But yeah,
Yeah,
that hiring people for their almost for their personalities rather than anything else, I think is a huge thing.
absolutely. I mean, I can think of so many players. If I'm going to get the best sounding blues player I know, I'd be like Scott McKeon, dude.
Yeah,
This is your
yeah, yeah,
gig.
yeah,
uh, and then you get like people who just show and rock out really good and look awesome when they play. I like to call him my double, but he calls it the other way
yeah,
because of Rick. But Rick here is another one
yeah,
that's just
yeah, yeah,
and you know what? Like a lot of people get hired for a lot of different things. In the circles, and when it comes to, it's a lot of who you get on really well with.
yeah,
If you're
yeah,
on a tour bus with somebody, or going away with the artist, there's so many hours where you're not on stage, and it's just
yeah.
like what you like as a guy,
Do I want to
and
spend 3 hours in a bus next to this person?
yeah,
Yeah,
and often you just have to have a great sense of humour.
yeah, yeah,
Be fun. I mean, again, Rick here is probably the best of that.
yeah,
Kudos to you.
yeah.
If you ever, yeah,
He's
but yeah,
he's
again,
on my
we
list to
speak
get on
to
there.
yeah, you should do. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's again, he'll be a laugh. He'll be a riot. And then you get super humble people who do things in a different way, and again, a different flavor. Like Carlos Garcia,
mm.
um, was one of my best mates, and we went to college together and stuff like that. And he's like super humble, but so good, man.
Yeah,
Such a
yeah,
talent, and he looks like a rock star as well. Again,
definitely.
it's just how things look and they marry up, and
Yeah,
how people work. Luke Higgins, another one. I mean,
mm.
what's funny is like a lot of these people are like the ones that are actually giving you the gig to depth for them.
Yeah,
That's how it works, and be like, yeah, you're reliable. You're always on point. They know, there's no shadow of a doubt. Like a couple of MDs, I shit you not, they put me on gigs with days' notice for like a
yeah,
whole stretch of tour, and because I'll be like depping for like the main guitarist has been with the band for like 25 years or something.
mm.
Um, he'll just check in with me that I'm all right with the
Yeah,
tunes from a live recording,
yeah,
and then I'll get onto the gig, meet them at sound check, or I'll be
yeah,
on the plane there, and then I'll be like, drilling stuff in, and it's like um, it's a lot of trust people put in you.
yeah,
So again, like with your practice and everything, man, you got to put in the hours. It's time
mm.
spent.
Yeah. It's not wasted either.
No, I mean, I
No.
learn stuff off simple pop tunes all the time. I actually quite I've got a very big appreciation of pop music
Mm.
and the reason why things work. I like the guys from the Fisher podcast. It's the Fisher
No.
brothers, and they go out fishing for BS. That's what it is.
Right. Okay.
And they basically talk there. It's like Aaron Forbes and the two Fisher brothers.
Okay.
Um, and they do this podcast about stuff about like the session world really.
Yeah.
Um, and I always loved their line. I forget who said it. It was Dana. He said, "Know your lane," and
Okay.
what that
Yeah.
yeah, and I really like that because stay in your lane.
Yeah.
I'm a guitarist. I am in a frequency bandwidth over here. I'm a mid-range sounding
Yeah. Yeah.
thing, and this goes for when I make my patches, my sounds, and I'm on a gig and I've been playing with a keys player. Especially, I notice we have similar crossovers
Yeah. Yeah.
in areas, and the same with like being too heavy on the bass and stuff like that. There's that area specifically in a technical way of going. My sound lives here,
Mm.
And then there's also my parts live
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You know, serve the song, man. Like, and when people want to make you step out, then you've got your time, but
Yeah.
it's got a place. You know, less is more. If you're just gonna be serving the song and laying down that, if it's funky like James Brown kind of rhythm, it's barely the chord even. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know whatever it is, and I bet that turns into a meme.
Yeah. There
Um,
is. Have you seen on Instagram? I can't remember. Her name is Ella something. I've forgotten what her surname is. I stumbled across her. I'll see if I find her. Find her,
she's
her
British
name. No, she's in the
or based in
States.
the UK.
Ella
Oh,
Feingold.
right.
Fuck me, man. This girl's groove and timing and feel is just it's just sick. But it's like you said, it's nothing, but it's
Yeah.
everything. And she'll
Oh
like layer 4 or 5 guitars, and she breaks it down. You see what she's doing. And each one is just doing like a da da da, and then another guitar's just going but up, and then she layers it all together. And you just listen to it and you go,
oh man.
fucking hell. But she'll break down like old 70s R&B and funk and soul tunes and
Right.
see what the
Right.
guitars.
Right.
Check her out, man. I'm trying to get
That
her
sounds
on,
great.
but
Yeah.
she
Send me the
is.
link. I love that kind of stuff.
It's she's so fucking like, just so tight as well. It's just
Oh, you
man.
know what?
You know when you meet those, you see
Such
those
a
people, and they
buzz.
go, "Yes, you like those people that I fucking love that,"
Yeah.
and they get you excited again about music. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
I definitely say, pocket with that feeling of pocketing
Mm,
and just feeling like the bass drum and everything is just you're almost just sinking into it every time. Think, 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 think. It's a buzz, man, and I
yeah,
do not care about playing the littlest amount if I'm just feeling like I'm really pocketing. And
yeah,
you always get the look over from the bass and the drummer go, yeah.
got it. Yeah,
They were like, yeah, that feels great, and they're like, yeah, you just
yeah.
they could feel like everyone's just saying, um,
You almost don't
but
want to do it. You don't want to stop, but you don't want to break off and do something else. I
I
just
know.
want to sit here. I just want to sit solo. No, I don't want to. I just want to sit here.
You know what? I've actually the other night I fell into just pocketing, but I've had like an auto wah with a phasing auto wah,
Yeah,
so that just made it feel even more because you go like wow
yeah,
into it, chicka bow bow.
yeah.
um, but I'm a massive Prince fan,
Mm,
and the way that he plays guitar and just how he is as a musician, I think he's so outlandish and
yeah,
the attitude and the conviction is second to none.
yeah.
And I think that's what I actually truly love. I mean, about him. Yeah, I think that is more my style is Prince.
Mm,
Uh, and then we're all suckers for John Mayer, so we love.
yeah, yeah.
I fall into that all the time, like everyone else.
Yeah, those 3 notes that you're playing at, you're just son of a bitch. What note? I don't think my guitar has those notes. What are they?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to sound like Derek Trucks, but to pick up a
Oh,
song now, I
yeah,
mean, and
son of a.
even the way that like Greg Koch plays,
Mm,
he's actually quite a brutal player, but freaking out, he's just got like an attack, and I don't know, man. His fingers always look like they're absolutely massive when he does.
yeah,
His,
he's a big guy.
yeah, right. And these people and their flavors and everything are something else. I've kind of
Mm,
grown up with like Toto and Steve Lukather and like Nuno Betancourt
yeah,
as things, but we all started shredding at the beginning, and
yeah,
now I'm like, I just want to place a couple of notes like John Mayer.
yeah, yeah. It's strange. I mean, that's. I think that's just kind of the evolution of as we get old, a little bit older, and I don't know. The fast, flashy stuff is nice, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I think there's just so much more value in 3 or 4 well placed notes that make everyone go, "Ooh, what was that?"
yeah.
That's just
You know
for
what?
me.
I've ended up for a couple of things where I could write in the solos or rewrite them.
Yeah.
Interestingly, um, I I've got so much respect and appreciation for writing a really good solo for
Yeah.
such a thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Nuno Betancourt was also one that said he tended to write
Mm.
them down. I mean, I'm not charting it note for note, but I'm certainly getting it down, and going like, this sounds like it would be a nice part, and it could really crescendo. Because during the gig, a lot of people want to see like more of the performance of it, and then you giving it and just nailing it. If you're improvising it every time, there's a time and place for that.
Yeah.
And I think like I rewrote the Beat It
I
solo.
saw that. That was a banger. That was really good.
Yeah, I thought it was a
Yeah.
nice one, and it was
Yeah.
one that I'm like, it ticks all the boxes. It's me.
Yeah.
I'm not a tapper.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's something I have to practice doing, but again, I'm not really going to do it. And the sweep picking is not something I used to do it when I was like playing Megadeth and shit like that, but I'm just not doing that anymore. And it's not something I'm going to pull out that often.
I think we missed the boat on the metal thing. Like the shredding metal thing, we missed the boat on it. If we were in the 80s, it was everyone was doing it.
Yeah, exactly. I had a 7-string Jackson at one point.
Nice. Dude, I think on that note, we'll call it a day. But mate, it was a real pleasure to finally actually sit down and chat shop with you and shoot,
absolutely,
shoot the
man.
fat.
Thanks for
It was
having
really
me.
cool.
I feel like Wayne's World. I'm not worthy.
Really not.
Next week's got Nuno Betancourt.
Yeah, but no, it was a pleasure, man. It really, really was, and we should try and aim to actually hang out in real life.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, if you're in town, if you're in town or something, yeah, we'll see if we can hook something up.
Absolutely, yeah. I should be. Yeah, I'm there enough, but I'll hit you up.
Yeah, it's in out. Got to get back for the kids. Got to make the school run. All that kind of stuff is a new added thing that we got to do. But yeah,
and all these dates,
yeah. But it was really cool, man. It was a pleasure. Thanks very much. We'll speak soon.
Anytime. Thanks,
All right,
Tim.
mate. See you later. Bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye.